Indra. Mandalam 1, Suktam 33A. Rishi,
Hiranyastupa Angirasa,
Devata,
Indra,
Chandas.
Trishtubh.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 33, Rik 1.
एतायामोपगव्यम् त इन्द्रमस्माकम् सुप्रमादिम् वा वृधाति अनावृणः कुविदातस्य रायोगभाङ्गेनम् परमावर्जतेनः.
Do come, may we verily go to Indra, seekers of cows, whether at all increases for all of us good visionary thought, then the invincible may perhaps bestow to us this supreme intuitive perception of wealth of cows. The place of mortals in the universal scheme. Thoughts are the basic expressions of all mortals. When undisciplined, these basic expressions coagulate to form different emotions. Any emotion that is not reined in by judgment leads mortals to misery. The verse asserts that the power of judgment is conferred by Indra at a time when he considers right, based on requirements that are beyond mortal ken. Vedic thought further regards attaining complete consciousness as the ideal and its attainment the purpose of life. The transition from judgment or wisdom-controlled thoughts to a state of total consciousness is a process that is on a completely different level and that also requires Indra's intervention and grace. It is a perplexing situation to be in, where an ideal is identified but one cannot strive to achieve it. Instead, wait for external mediation. If true, this certainly shows mortals their insignificant yet inevitable place in the scheme of the universe. A cow is a metaphor for universal truth in this context. It is so in the entire expression of Rigvedic thought. That to be in possession of cows, as well as attaining the purpose of life by virtue of this possession, is possible only if Indra, the universal regulatory mechanism, so desires. From the perspective of ordained universal progression, is the assertion of this verse.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 33, Rik 2.
उपेरहम् धनदामुप्रतीतम् जुष्टाम् नस्येनोपसतिम् पदामि इन्द्रम् नमस्यन्नोपमेभिरर्कैर्यस्तोतृभ्यो हव्यो अस्ति यामन्.
Indeed, I, like a falcon to loved nest, I fly to the unassailable wealth giver, bowing down to Indra by the highest hymns of praise, who for worshippers is one who should be called upon arrival. Awareness or ignorance is not by choice. The scenario described in the previous verse can be validated by happenings that we are privy to in life. A child at birth does not have the choice of being endowed with extraordinary or below average intelligence or having wealthy or indigent parents. So many unforeseen circumstances beyond mortal control can make or mar the child's progress into adulthood. As an adult, a variety of events can advance or derail an individual's social life, career, and the remainder of life. Wisdom and realization, unfortunately, dawns only after having gone through and having experienced this phase, about there being a force beyond our understanding that directs our lives and that of the entire universe. Perhaps getting to know this force and the way it works is termed consciousness, which too is not by choice. Since existence is an expression of universal truths, so must be every activity that is a part of it, which is pretty much every activity that has ever happened or ever will. It is our state of unconsciousness that makes us differentiate them as being good or evil according to our awareness or ignorance. And every mortal involved in any activity, knowingly or unknowingly, does seek Indra's grace in completing it. Every step of an activity can be a misstep. The fact that it yet gets done is indeed a miracle, and life is surely full of such miracles.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 33, Rik 3.
सर्वसेन युषुधीन्द्रसत्तसमयोगाजयस्य पष्टि चोष्कूयमान इन्द्रभूरि वामं वापनिर्भूरस्मदधिप्रवृद्धा.
Leading all armies, fastened down quivers altogether, noble one, driving cows to whom he wishes. Indra, do not become niggard, keeping from us much wealth above. Prosperous? A hopeful shot in the dark by yearning mortals. Realization of the fact that mortals are entirely powerless against the tide of ordained universal progression can result in two possibilities in the context of the thought processes of mortals. One is acceptance, which leads to wonderment at the way existence works, and inner peace. The other possibility is that of beseeching the powers that be to be kind to them and confer upon them the wealth that they cannot achieve for themselves independently. The verse appears not to make a distinction between material wealth and spiritual wealth of truth, perhaps on the premise that the one is essentially the expression of the other. Whichever wealth it may be that is sought, the hope, then, is that perhaps the powers that generally grant to whomsoever they deem worthy may likely make an occasional exception and grant wealth against the established norm of it being distributed to the deserving. This manner of behavior among mortals can either be attributed to the lack of conviction about the possibility of everything being ordained, which could be the truth, or the likelihood that such behavior too is ordained.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 33, Rik 4.
पदीर्हितस्यम् धनिनम् गणेनान्येकश्चरन्नुपसाकेभिरिन्द्र धनोरथे विषुणक्ते व्यायन्नयज्वालस्तनकाः प्रेतीमेयुः.
For you alone slay by mace the wealthy barbarian, going about with companions. Indra, in all directions they widely ran from his bow above. They who never sacrificed hurried to flee. Self-centeredness and universe-centeredness. The distinction here between primitives and contemporaries appears to be in the context of the instinctive self-centeredness of mortals. The notion of sacrifice is something that is imbibed from perceiving the ways of existence and experiencing life. Self-centeredness then becomes the way of our primitive selves, while universe-centeredness that of our current selves. The former makes us barbarians, resulting in turmoil in the society that we live in. Indra, as the regulator of systems, goes after such barbarians, slaying this haughty egomania in them to restore balance and bring peace in society. Those who escape Indra's wrath fly in all directions to save themselves and perhaps begin to change their ways, even if forcibly, and become good denizens of existence, which can be compared to a nation-state with a government ruled over by the gods, with Indra as their chief. This is a time-transcending phenomena that never falls into desuetude, for every mortal young is born a primitive. Some never grow out of this primitive state all through their lives, become barbarians, wealthy too in some cases, and are inevitably brought to heel by the immortal Indra.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 33, Rik 5.
पराजिच्छीर्षाववृजुस्त इन्द्रायज्वानो यज्वाभिस्पर्धमानाः प्रयद्दिवो हरिमस्तादरुग्रनिरव्रताम् कथमो रोदस्योः.
Even heads were taken away, Indra, those who never sacrifice, competing forth with sacrificers, when, mighty, guider, driver of steeds, you cast away from heaven the lawless upon heaven and earth. Judicial retribution from the universal government for flouting natural law. Indra's wrath and action upon self-centeredness is continued in this verse from the previous one. Just as a government expects its citizens to adhere to laws laid down that are applicable within its geographic and jurisdictional limits, so also does nature expect universal denizens to strictly comply with natural laws. The unwritten Schedule 1, Section 1 of which explicitly states that only such acts are legitimate that ensures non-disruption of the state of equilibrium across all the subordinate systems that make up the universal system, which, in other words, mean being universe-centered in thought and action. Anyone flouting this criterion is severely punished. That may include banishment from heaven and earth. The only place such an individual could seek refuge in will be oblivion.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 33, Rik 6.
अयोयुत्सन्ननपद्यस्य सेनामयादयम् दक्षितयो न मग्वाः मृडायुधो न वज्रायो निरष्टा प्रवद्भिरिन्द्राश्चितयम् दायन्.
They fought against the army of the faultless one. The 9 seers abidingly moved, like the bullocks deprived of vigor fighting the bull, having known, ran by the sloping paths from Indra. Mortals, the original machines. We differentiate between machines and life on the premise that the former cannot think, while life forms do. This distinction has blurred with time, partly due to the emergence of the subject of computational thinking that refers to thought processes involved in formulating problems so that their solutions can be represented as computational steps and algorithms. This notion, when amalgamated with basic machines, makes them thinking machines. The advent of artificial intelligence, which is essentially a more complex form of computational thinking that makes possible the making of robots with near human intelligence and perhaps emotions too, if one were to consider emotions to be an even more complex form of computational intelligence. One can now envisage a scenario where the term mortal or even immortal can be applied to both robots and humans, the distinguishing features between them vanishing in time. Perhaps it has always been so with us mortals, the original machines, recognizing it only now. The common occurrence of one or more erroneous component in a machine, making it going rogue, will be equally applicable to both. A successful system is the one that has built-in safeguards to periodically eliminate units that go rogue and keep things in order. The universe can certainly be thought of as such a faultless system, having survived billions of years so far. This verse appears to describe the constant attempt by its environment to destabilize the dynamics of the solar system and consequently of life upon it. The 9 seers referred to are perhaps the 9 celestials of the system that abidingly move with the sun, their Indra, the faultless one, who has sustained them all this while.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 33, Rik 7.
वेदान् ब्रूततो दक्षदश्चायोधयो रजस इन्द्रपारे अवानहो दिवादस्य मुच्चा प्रसन्वदस्तु वदः संसमावः.
You vanquished those crying and laughing, Indra. On the opposite side from the sky, verily scorched the barbarian from heaven above, promoted invocation of the praising, preparing Soma offering. Impartial expressiveness of the immortal gods. Self-centered barbarians maniacally laugh, gloating over subjugation of their hapless and powerless victims, while the equally self-centered victims wallow in self-pity, weeping away their woes, and would eagerly wait for an opportunity to become nasty barbarians themselves. Those who comprehend truth and understand the ways of existence, including the creation and destruction of barbarians and their self-centered victims, acknowledge the role of the natural forces in governing and shaping the progression of existence, and that they personify and call gods. Aspire and strive to live their lives too in the spirit of sacrifice that they observe in the demeanor of their personifications, which is a reflection of the impartial expressiveness of all natural forces and their obligation to the ideal of equilibrium. That includes destroying the nasty ones where required and promoting those who aid this endeavor.
Mandalam 1, Suktam 33, Rik 8.
चक्रानाथः परीणहम् पृथिव्या हिरण्येन मणिना शुम्भमानाः नयन्मानादस्तितिरस्त इन्द्रम् परिस्पशो अदधात् सूर्येण.
Manufactured the enclosure of the earth, beautified by the golden gem, proceeded not moving across, Indra placed spies all around by the sun. Indra's domain and its dynamics. Natural forces, or gods, first formed the earth from the remnants of the molecular cloud from which had emerged our resplendent star, the sun. Geological processes unleashed by these forces on the initially atmosphere-less earth slowly began to fashion an atmosphere that was quite different than what it is now. The advent of life and the associated processes of its proliferation caused the atmospheric composition to change. However, the Earth's gravity held the compositionally dynamic atmosphere in place and prevented gases from escaping beyond its influence. The domain of Earth's Indra is this enclosure within which the atmosphere is constrained and regulated. If you found this video informative and relevant, please like and share it. If you would like to see more such videos in this ongoing series, please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you for viewing.